All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is awesome to be getting on board to do this masterclass today because this masterclass is one of the most critical things that you have to get right if you're going to be growing yourself professionally, personally, if you're going to be growing your relationships, if you're going to hit anything going forward into 2026. This masterclass, I think, more than anything else, has changed my life and caused me to be able to accomplish more wealth building, more personal development, more of all of the things that I actually wanted to be a reality in my life. And if you've got things in your life that you want to be a reality in the future, but you just are kind of hung up on actually getting there, like this is the masterclass for you. So, good morning. My name is Jason Ellinger, and I'm the owner of a multi-million-dollar company. I have 8 children, a really wonderful, enduring, and growing relationship with my wife. And I have an incredible team that works with us each and every day to help us charge forwards in our mission and vision. And if you want some similarity, some semblance of that life in your own life, then this masterclass is something that you're not going to want to miss. It's very, very near and dear to my own heart. This is one of those intimate kind of things in my life that has really moved the needle, has changed things in a big way. It's not incredibly complicated, but you do have to be very specific and intentional about this, or you will not grow. I did it for years. I worked on. I tried to I tried to force growth in different areas of my life without using this, and it didn't work. And so if you're here today and you're like, man, in 2026, I want things to look different, then you're in the right place. I spoke to someone on the phone just this week, and they're like, man, I just want to stop. I just want to be able to stop making it paycheck to paycheck. I want to be able to go beyond that and actually feel like I'm making great progress, and not just feel like it, but actually legitimately be able to say, I have made progress in an area that matters to me very much. And so this is the masterclass where you're going to learn how to do that. Now, we've been talking about the building a multi-million dollar family business, and this is right in that series. But this one is a little bit, this masterclass is a slight offset, not offset, but it works both personally and in the process of building and scaling your company. Like this is in both worlds. It's in the family world, it's in the business world. It kind of impacts all of that stuff and really helps us to both grow our company, but also make sure that we're not dropping the ball in other areas of our life. So I'm excited about getting into the content today and sharing that with you. So again, my name is Jason Ellinger, and part of my worldview, I'm a Judeo-Christian, coming from a Judeo-Christian worldview, is that when you have achieved some level of wealth and success, and when you have been ridiculously blessed beyond many people, then you need to be accessible, and you need to be available to communicate. That's what the Bible says to others, and make sure that you're not just like, okay, I've won, I've done everything that I've wanted to do in my lifetime, and I've accomplished all these great things, and I'm just alone here by myself, and I don't want to, I want to miser that. I want to just kind of hold it to close to myself and just kind of guard it with all my might so that nobody can bother me. And that's really what so that is not what I'm supposed to do as a Christian. I'm supposed to take what I have and declare it and share it with others so that they can move forward in their life as well. And so that's one of the real reasons that I do this. And I hope that it's a really and powerful blessing for you as you listen, and maybe if you take some of the content that I talk about today and you actually apply it, and you really see some incredible improvement and some wins in your life that you otherwise wouldn't see. That would be so, that's, I mean, if you would just send me a comment and just, or send me an email or DM or whatever, wherever you're watching this, and just let me know how it helped you, that would be such a great blessing to me. I've taught this stuff for um, many different types of audiences, and individually, and in a more kind of a home setting where there's multiple people, multiple families or couples, and it's always left a huge impact on them and really helped in a very special and powerful way. So You're going to get this morning for free right now. All right. So we are going. I want to start off with a couple things about goal setting in 2026 because um, when life happens without a plan, this is something you need to realize. And we have to internalize this completely, fully, and just concrete it into our minds. When life happens without a plan, it happens against you. You will not prosper accidentally. When you see someone out there in the marketplace and they have had incredible levels of success, then you can see, you know that that person who's probably been through hell and back to get there. I mean, you're like, well, I see all these nice frills that they've got going on in their lives. They got the nice car, they've got the nice house, they got the property, they've got the model wife, they got everything, and that's what you see. But you don't know that pathway that took them there and how long it took them. You see, like the 25 years plus of investing and doing this, what I'm going to talk about today. But you didn't see year 1 to year 5 when it was hard, when it was scary, when people thought that they wouldn't make it, and over time, they just didn't give up. They were freaking relentless and they didn't give up and they kept on it because principles applied over time work. And they actually have all these kind of really cool wins now. And you just see that and you think, well, it was easy for them. And that's a terrible mistake because that means if you can just go on living and not change anything about your behavior or about your activity, that maybe you too will be able to wander into such an amazing life. And it will not happen. Guaranteed 100% of the time. It will not happen. You must turn to intentionality. And I had to turn to intentionality on the way I was carrying out my life in order to be able to get to the next level. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today. And I hope that's that's going to be very meaningful to you and help you to charge forwards in 2026. So when life happens without a plan, it happens against you. When you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's what I had a great commander back in when I was in the United States Air Force, and he said, "Hope is a poor excuse for poor planning." And his point was, and it was specifically related to some of the individuals in our flight that had that were not doing their PT well and were not going to pass their PT examination every year. And he said, if you were hoping that you are going to pass this, when you get to, you have to run and do your sit-ups and push-ups and do all of your other measurements. If you are hoping that you're going to pass, then you have planned to fail already. So when life happens without a plan and you don't know where you're going in the next step that you're supposed to be taking in order to be able to move things forward in that particular area of your life, then it happens against you. When life happens against you, those things that you want to be a reality in your life do not come to pass. That sucks. Well, it sucks for those who don't take advantage of the activity required to be able to grow. But for those of us who do, it's really awesome. If you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time. Every single time you aim at nothing, you will hit it. Yet so many people are wandering around aiming at absolutely nothing for the entire year and wishing and hoping and wishing upon a star that something would change. And it will not change until you and I change our activity and align ourselves with what's going to cause us to win. And that's what I'm going to be sharing in this masterclass today. And I hope that you get a helpful nugget from that. Whether you believe you can, or whether you believe you cannot, you are correct. The famous quote from Henry Ford: if you believe that you can do something or you believe you cannot, then you are correct. I have found this phrase to become more and more truthful over time than I would have ever imagined at the beginning. And if you're at the beginning, you're like, that's a stupid, silly phrase said by some stupid rich guy. No, it works. If you believe you can or you believe you can't, you are correct. Now it's about you engaging in the behavior. All right. So again, my name is Jason Ellinger. If you have not done so already, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, follow us on TikTok. everywhere where we're broadcasting content. Please click that like, follow, and comment button. And if you get anything whatsoever valuable out of this, if anything, if I say anything meaningful or helpful for you today, and help you in any way at all, I would greatly appreciate it if you would copy the link that you're watching, and whether it's you're on YouTube um, or whether you are, sorry, I just looked on the screen and I saw a comment pop up, and it is Jace M dash fit. God is our plan. Yeah, love that. Heck yeah. If you're watching on any of those platforms, copy that link and send it to somebody in your life who you know needs some improvement, needs some help in the area of what we're going to be talking about today, which is goal setting in 2026. And or goal setting for 2026. We're not quite there yet. If you could fix one area of your life in 2026, which one would it be? Are you asking me that question? No, you're asking that to the rest of the readers out there. Okay, cool. I'll be reading. Okay. I am going to be okay, sorry. I've just got a little bit distracted by what was on the screen. But yeah, anyways, all of us know somebody in our lives who needs who needs goals, who needs a direction, who needs to do something other than what they're currently doing, and they actually need a little help to get there. And if you know somebody like that, and you know somebody would appreciate the content that I'm putting out, please copy the link and send it to that friend. Send it by text message, WhatsApp, whatever, Facebook, whatever methodology you want, but send it to somebody and share that with somebody so that they can tune into the content. I put out this stuff each and every week, and I put out content specifically around business, around family, around relationships, around personal development, growth, and finances. Those are my main areas that I work to help people in. And if anybody that you know needs such help, then please help them, forward our information over them and over to them so that they can tune into our channel and grow each week with us. So subscribe, like. All right, I think I've said that enough times. Let's move forwards. To make goals, you need to know what you actually want. We're going to start talking about this stuff today, guys, because it's so important that I have seen so many people afraid to identify what they want. And that is one of the saddest things for me to see. You have an entire lifetime. And by the way, the clock is ticking. You don't ever get the last second back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those seconds are gone. I never get those last 5 seconds back, and you don't either. And I'm not trying to make you feel anxious about not doing it, but what I'm trying to tell you is that if you don't identify what you want to accomplish in life, you never freaking will, and nobody else can do this for you. Absolutely nobody can do this for you. So many people never identify what they want in their life, and they are so afraid to identify that because if they actually say, I want to go there, and that is bigger than they think that they can possibly accomplish in their lifetime, and they say, I want to achieve that, then they will disappoint themselves, causing themselves more anxiety, more depression, and more lack of a sense of purpose and meaning. And that, I know that place is a really dark place. And I don't want anybody to be there, which is why I'm doing this masterclass today, because I've been in such a place in my life where I was like, man, everything, all the relationships are broken. Everything is really bad. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough everything. And I don't know what the heck to do. And if that is you today, then this masterclass is something that you and my channel is a channel that you want to be latched onto, because you can rearrange things. You can take specific actions that I'm going to be talking about in over the forthcoming weeks and helping you to understand so that you can move things forward in your life in a way that really matters to you. And so many people, they're too afraid to disappoint themselves to say, well, if I actually say what I really wanted, if I was really and truly deeply honest, I would like to do that and make this a reality in my life, but it's not in the cards for me. Guys, I've seen people go from completely flat broke, getting sued every single year because they could not pay their bills, to billion-dollar status in my lifetime. If that is a possibility, simply because they align themselves with the principles that cause them to be able to prosper over time and get there, if that is a possibility in my lifetime, I'm 39, I think I'm 39, or I'll be 39 in April. If I'm 39 years old, and during my lifetime, my cognizant lifetime, that means I was older than 15, and they were able to go from completely flat broke, getting sued to because they couldn't pay their bills, to billionaire status in a lifetime because they had a heart change, a mind change, and the action change over their lifetime, then you can too. And you take a guess for a minute. Can I really? Yes, you can too. You could absolutely do it, but it does take a massive change in activity. And it does change a massive change in every area of your life that you currently think, well, if I just had $1 billion, I would do this, that, that. You don't know what you would do if you had $1 billion because you've never had $1 billion. And when you have $1 billion, it takes a ton of weight on your shoulders to manage that well. And that's why it takes a long time for people to grow their wealth. And so my path has been no different. I wanted to get much further faster, but the path God took me on was a much more concrete and very specific and consistent path than I thought I would do myself. And it caused me to be able to grow over time, to be able to manage the weight of wealth as the wealth grows. And I think that's something that God specifically does for people who love Him. And so that's just a side note kind of for Christians out there. All right, too many people, because they don't want to disappoint themselves, because they never determine what they actually want, they never accomplish it. And I have seen this in lives of people that are very close to me. Um, I I love the phrase that Albert Einstein said. He said, "If you know and do not do, you do not truly know." And I think that is so powerful of a statement if you actually internalize that and you really think through the implications of what that means. You know, like so many people know if you eat less and you exercise more, you'll be in better shape. Why the heck are so many people out of weight, out of shape, and have no endurance, stamina, tenacity? Why? They know it, but they don't do it. So Albert Einstein would say, if you know and you don't do, you don't really know. And that's something to the aspect of actually taking the information and applying it that trumps everything else in life. So too many people never accomplish this. I'm thinking of somebody really near and dear, and I'm not going to mention their name because I don't want them, because if they ever watch these video, and they might be watching right now, um, if they ever watch this video, that I don't want them to feel like embarrassed about that. But somebody very dear always used to wish that they could live somewhere else other than where they are. And the truth is, they could have. They wanted to be in a certain area and they wanted to do a certain type of thing. And the truth is, as I look back on the whole picture of their life, because I've known them for a really long time, they could have, but they decided not to determine what they wanted and not go after it. And because of that, they condemned themselves to failure over time. And you could be in that very situation right now. And that's why I'm doing this masterclass today. And that's why it's so near and dear to my heart, because there was a time when I thought, man, I can't either. That's not in the cards for me. And I had a change of heart, a change of mind, and a great teacher that came in and said, you know what, Jason? Get the heck up off your butt. You can do anything that you set out to do within reason, within your, like, if you're not 7 feet tall, so you're not going to be the next LeBron James, but within reason, you can do anything that you set out to do that's in your heart. And if God puts something on your heart, you can accomplish it through His power over time with the application of principles. And that's why this masterclass is so important to me, because it was me many years ago coming to terms with myself saying, Jason, you change and accomplish those things that God has planned for you, and that you that you have a deep and burning desire to be true in your life, but you think that you're not able. But you've got to change your mind and your heart and charge forwards and quit making excuses. So to make goals, you need to know and clarify what you actually want. And I did this for me personally on the personal side. Also did this for my family. We also did this for my business. And we started to do, and we've done this for other teams that I've been a part of. And so when you do this, it changes the entire outlook, changes the energy in your life, changes your ability, your willingness to sacrifice when the going gets tough because you know where you're going. Now, if you're going to build anything, you need great goals. Now, here's the question. I think it popped up on the screen earlier as I was starting this conversation. If I managed, no, it didn't. This it was a kind of variation of this question, but it wasn't exactly this. But I want you to ask this yourself this question right now. If I managed a life for someone else that I was responsible for causing them to succeed, would I manage their life the way I manage my life right now? Really think about that. If I managed someone else's life and for them, and I was completely responsible for them succeeding, would I manage their life the way that I manage my life right now? And the truth is, you are a manager, you are an agent for your life. When I was reading the books that Donald Trump wrote, doesn't matter if you're a Donald Trump fan or not. That's not the point. The point is, Donald Trump has gone throughout his entire lifetime being an agent for himself. He's the freaking president of the United States right now because of his agency over his life for years and years and years and years. And you can go back on YouTube and find videos of him talking about, well, what would be the next big thing you would like to accomplish? You already accomplished billionaire status. What is the next big thing? He's like, well, maybe president of the United States might be a kind of good thing to do. And he's like, maybe president of the United States, like 20 years ago. And for the last 20 something years, he has been talking to people, building relationships, and orienting himself so that he could get to that place in life. Maybe not intentionally, specifically, like, I'm going to go for the presidency, but it was in his mind that he could possibly go for that if he wanted to. And then when he decided to go for it, he freaking burned the streets going to get there. Now, like him or not, he's the president of the United States. He got there, and 20 years ago, he was talking about it. And you, 20 years from now, could be where you want to be if you just start managing your life and become your best agent for success. Now, too many people cannot answer that, yes, I would manage their life the exact same way I'm managing mine right now. And that has got to change. And that's what these master classes are about. All right, so we're going to get into the goal setting part right now. Listen up. You got to know these things. If you're going to make great goals for your life that actually work, that propel and cause you to charge forwards, this has to be a reality. Your life is made up of 7 areas. Some people say 6, some people say 7, but this is called the wheel of life. Okay? 7 significant areas of your life. If you don't pay attention to any one of these areas every single year and intentionally take action in each of these areas and give them goals with deadlines, we're going to talk about this stuff in a minute, and cause them to be paid attention to, then you're going to have what's called a flat tire. Part of that circle, so here, just think about a pie chart, a circle, a big circle with 7 sections in it: spiritual, health, academic and mental, career, social, financial and wealth, and family and relationships. That circle, that pie chart makes up your life. And that is called the wheel of life. And when you're making goals for the year, you have to consider in each of those areas what you want to be true in the future. Now, I will talk about how that looks in a minute, but you just have to know at this point that, I mean, if you got a pen and a piece of paper right now and you're sitting by a computer or something and you can just draw it out on the screen, draw yourself a circle in a pie chart and put one of these in each of those 7 areas. I'm sorry. There we go. Popped up on the screen now. Put one of these categories in each of those 7 sections on that pie chart. This is where you start with great goal setting, because your life is made up of spiritual things. You have a spirit. You know you have a spirit. Some people have a really high strung spirit, and you know who those people are in your life. I know who they are in mine. You have the health aspect of your life. You have you have a body, and if you're watching this, you have some kind of physical faculties that needs to be managed. You have academic and mental training that you have in your head and in your mind that can grow or it can dilapidate, and it's all you depending on what you want to do with it. And either it grows or dilapidates every single year. If you're not growing, you're dying. Nature shows us this very clearly. And then you have career, where you work. You obviously have to do something to be able to get food on your table. Then you have a social aspect, that you being a part of the community, you being a part of your building social networks, you being out there and actually interacting with others, because we are people who need other people, and we have to be interacting with other people in order for our lives to be healthy and strong, and have any potential for optimistic thinking and growth. We have to also understand that finance is a massive aspect of our life. Without money, we do absolutely nothing, and we can do nothing that we want to do. And by the way, if you have any questions while I'm speaking, please drop them in the comments below. Just a quick side note. And then each of us has some desire for where we want to be in our family and relationships. These 7 areas make up the entire wheel of life. All of those 7 areas have to be paid attention to in order for you to be able to move the needle forwards. Because when you do everything in spiritual health, academic, career, and you forget wealth and financial management, guess what happens? You run out of money, and you don't hit your financial goals, and you're not able to charge forwards in that area. Or guess what happens when you spend all your time pursuing spiritual things and academic and doing stuff in your career and focusing on social, financial, and family relationships, but you don't ever freaking go to the gym. You turn out looking like one of those big blobs. I saw a guy the other day. He had a tiny little cowboy hat on, and he had a massive body, and I was like, man, if you just if you would just have taken some time to work on to work on your health aspect, you wouldn't be in that condition. And he had a little baby, and he was holding a tiny little baby, and I was like, man, that child's father is at risk because his father is not doing what he should needs to do in order to make sure that baby is well taken care of, because he is not doing his job to take care of his body. And so he's making not only his life at risk, but also somebody else's life at risk. And you might not realize that, but other people depend on you, and they depend on your life, and they depend on you being well. And if you spend all your time focusing on all the other stuff and you don't focus on your health, you will let people down, you will let yourself down, and your body will let you down in working towards your goals. Because in order to accomplish anything in life, you have to have incredible tenacity and stamina over the long term. And if you don't, and because your body is letting you down because you haven't focused on the area of health and training in your life, then you will not be able to win over time. It takes more strain, it takes more patience, it takes more endurance, it takes more physical uh, quickness of mind and sharpness of mind and body to be able to get where you want to go than you could ever possibly imagine. If that is the case, then you have to focus on this area of your life. So, all 7 of these matter, and they matter greatly. You can't just focus on one and leave off doing the others for the entire year to start moving in a very forward and upward moving way. So don't let yourself get off track with it. Don't let yourself get fooled into thinking, well, I just need one main goal for the year, and that's all I have to go after. If that's There is an overarching theme for the year. However, if you don't pay attention to all of these 7 areas, they're going to come up from behind you and kick your feet out from under you. Like, you imagine the person running, and somebody runs up behind them and just kick their knees forwards. That's what happens when you don't focus on all 7 areas. And you trip and you fall, and it crushes the success in many of the other areas. So don't go forwards thinking that you can just make one single goal and have everything else accomplished. It doesn't work that way. It won't. Our human lives are made too complex to have such a simplified way of operating. We have all of these aspects in our lives, and we have to acknowledge each and every one in order to be able to prosper over time. Now, if you look at this list, you'll look at these and you're like, well, I'm actually really strong spiritually. I go to church, I read my Bible, I pray, I have a great community around me, I attend a Bible study, and I'm really strong in this area. Good for you. Kudos to you. But you've been carrying around that extra 25 pounds for the past, I don't know, 5 years that you wanted to lose, but you haven't. And it's because you're really strong spiritually, but you didn't focus anything on your health. And so you haven't made progress there. And so what I would recommend to you is that you take a look at each of these and find that obviously there are some areas that is going to be very easy for you and you're really good at, and that's great. And you're also going to see some of those areas of there that are like, man, I really don't, I'm really not doing well in that area. And for those areas, it's very important for you to identify them, and make sure that you're making a goal in that area. Now, to have a functioning life, you have to make goals in each area. I know I talked about that, but if you're going to make great goals going forwards, you're going to have to make goals in each of these areas. All right. I'm just looking here. Just checking in. Can you give me one example of how it works? Yes, Kyle, I will give you an example of how it works in just a minute. We're just about to get into that stuff. I'm actually going to give not only one example, but I'm going to give two examples so that you can get this working in your life right now. All right, so to have a functioning life, you have to make goals in each of the 7 areas. Now, to know, this is something vital to know. In order to have a good goal, the actual goal that you're going to make, it has to have these 5 specific things. If you don't make these 5 things a part of your goal, like your goal in this format, then it will probably fall flat on its face and you will not accomplish it. You'll be frustrated and you'll be like, well, I made goals and they never work. I make all kind of goals and they never work. And I've heard that said many, many times. And I hate this one. I hate this one. Well, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. No, you dummy. Make plans, make goals, present them to God, and let him direct your steps. And if he changes things a little bit, it means you were wrong about some of the goals that you needed to set. You needed to make them a little bit differently. But don't just blame God for you being too lazy to make goals. All right, getting off my soapbox. Sorry about that. Going to switch back over to this now. All right, some things to know about goals. Goals must be specific. It must be a specific thing that you want to accomplish. Notice when I talked about that person who focused on their spiritual life, but they didn't focus on their health. And then they got fat. Okay? So they have to be specific. I will lose 25 pounds in 2026. Great. We have a very specific goal, 20-foot butt, and it's measurable, which is the next one. You have to be able to measure it, but it has to have the next one, a timeline. Has to be written. It has to have a timeline to the goal. Because how can you do math to find out when you need to accomplish this thing and make it a reality in your life if you don't have a timeline? If you're going to a wedding in 6 months from now, and you know you need to fit in a dress that's 2 sizes smaller than you are right now, then you're going to have to say, I need to lose 10 pounds within the next 6 months in order to fit that size so I can go to that wedding. And that's a big motivator. And that'll help you get in shape, right? Or any other type of thing. I remember we were going on, my brother and I last year, actually 4 of my brothers and 3 of my brothers and I, we went on a big elk hunt in near Tooele, Utah. And we went up in the mountains. And in order to go on that trip, we had to be in tip-top shape physically to be able to climb those mountains. They were some freaking tall mountains. I mean, I'm used to living somewhere down at like 100 feet level, and those mountains are like 10,500 feet where we were up there chasing those elk. And in order to be able to be in the conditions so that I didn't die at the top of the mountain when I got up there, I had to prepare myself physically to be able to train at a level where I would have enough breathing powers to where when I got up to the top of those mountains, that I could actually not just fall over and die, because it was really, really high, very low oxygen from what I was used to. And my heart was beating like 1,000 kilometers an hour as I was traipsing through the tops of those mountains. But I was able to do it because I trained and I was ready. And so you have to have a specific timeline for when you need to be ready to do whatever the thing is. Now, I'm going to get into some examples in a minute, so don't worry. All right. Looking at time here. Okay. Next thing is the goal must be written down. I type mine on the Google sheet when I'm and then I print them out and I put them in my office. Okay? The goals must be written. I don't know what there is about having a written goal, having it printed out in front of you each and every day, but when you review that and you see it day after day, it starts to become part of your thinking. And the more you think about something, the more pathways that are created in your brain to that to going in that place, the more your brain looks around your environment and recognizes the elements of your life that cause that to be more of a reality, almost without you knowing it sometimes. So I think there's even a scientific term for that. But the more you view your goals and the more you think about your goals and your desire to do them and make them come to life in the period of time that you wanted them to come to your life in, then the more likely you will be to accomplish them. So they have to be written and they have to be in a place that you're going to view them each and every day. Now, the fifth thing is, and I think it's very, very important, and I think even more important for so many young people, but in this day and age, heck, it might even be for older adults, because I've seen some older adults living with their parents, and it's like, man, your parents want you to get a job, but you don't even care. Or your parents want you to stop being a slob, but you really don't even care to do that. You actually want to you have no desire to want to do anything, but you're going to make a goal to make somebody else happy. It's better to not make goals and just not accomplish anything than to make goals for somebody else in your life. You can only make goals for you. Now, if you are a leader of a family, if like you're a husband and a wife of a family, you have to make goals for your family. That's your responsibility. And so you make goals for the entire family. You are one unit, and so you are one. So you are one in the sense of making goals. Now, personal goals from the husband and the wife, those are often individual. And then from your older children, and if you have your children above 12 years of 12 years old, or even above 10 years old, they could have goals too, individual for themselves. But it's really important for you as a father of a home, or a mother and father of a home, or maybe you're a single parent. Anyways, it's really important for you to make sure that your little unit, your military unit to combat life, has goals that they're working towards and accomplishing. Now, these are the 5 elements of the goals that must be a reality in the goals that you set. They must be specific, measurable, timeline, written, and they must be yours. They can't be your father's. They can't be your friends. They can't be anybody else in the world that says you should do something. They have to be your own goals. I want to lose 25 pounds. Not my spouse wants me to lose 25 pounds. You never will. My father wanted me to become a dentist. No, I want to become, maybe you want to be a truck driver, not a dentist. But you have all the mental capacity to be a dentist. But you hate it. Have you ever been to a dentist that hates being a dentist? I gather that you have. And if you have gone there, you probably never went back because you hated going to that dentist because they were a terrible dentist. Their father wanted them to be a dentist. They didn't want to be a dentist. They just knew that they made a lot of money if they would become that. And so they became that. Don't ever get into that mistake. You become what you were made and created to and have the desire to become, because it is your responsibility to manage your life for you. Don't ever get in the trap, say, this group of people, this person in my life, this mentor in my life thinks I should be this or do that or have that. No, you have to internalize the goal. If you don't internalize the goal, you will never have success over time in accomplishing it. All right, now, start with what you want the reality to be in that focus area. Remember the 7 focus areas of life, the wheel of life, right? Spiritual health, and it goes on down the line, right? Now, we have to do that. We have to ask ourselves the question, if I could be in any condition, and I'm doing an example now. Kyle, you just asked, I'm sorry, I'm pointing down here at the screen because that's where I see the messages. Kyle, you just asked for an example. We're getting into the examples right now. I'm going to do 2 specific examples to help you be able to accomplish this. All right. Now, in the area of health, ask yourself this question. If I could be in any condition that I want to be in, what is the condition? Maybe you're an older parent and you want to be able to be flexible so you don't feel like you're always so tense and you're just bound up and always on a always high strung. Maybe you want to maybe you want to feel uh uh maybe you want to, when you get up in the morning, not have so much shoulder pain or lower back pain or pain in your knee. I've had a lot of pain in my back and my legs and my knee in the past, and now it's mostly gone. Maybe you want to be able to ride a bike. Like maybe you want to be in the physical condition to where you could actually ride a bike. I know that sounds weird, but a lot of people are not physically fit enough to ride a bike. Maybe you need to learn how to ride a bike. Or maybe you want to be able to be strong and able to lift your children without feeling pain. Lift them up and hold them and give them a big hug, big bear hug, and just be able to hold them without feeling pain or feeling too weak to do it. Maybe that's a reality for you. If you could be in any condition that you want, that you could, if you could be in any condition that you want to be in, what is that condition? Maybe you want to be able to run in the yard and play with your grandkids. Now, depending on your age, that may you may have to scale back a little bit with this, but if you're 40 to 50 years old, you could have grandkids, and wouldn't you like to be able to play with them and run around and play with them, be in the condition that you could be able to do that? And then I want to be able to walk more than 5 miles in one go. When we were up in the mountains in Utah, we walked 28, 30 miles sometimes in a day. But some people can't even walk five. So you want to, maybe you want to be able to walk more than 5 miles in one go without feeling like you're completely drained. Maybe that's a goal for you. Start small. But you have to start by answering that question. If you could be in whatever condition you wanted to be, what is the condition? And define it clearly for your life. Now, all of us have different limitations. All of us have different physical capacities. Some of us have different diseases. I met a guy who was in great shape. And he said, you know what? He was 55 years old. And he said, you know what? I had meningitis when I was a baby. I have had more than 27 different major surgeries and a few minor surgeries. I was like, you look like you're in great shape, man. His name was Pork Chop. His name was Pork Chop, and he lives in Atlanta. So if you're watching this, Pork Chop, kudos to you. Anyways, but he just told me about, he just got up and decided that he would be healthier and stronger and he would be active, and he was in great shape. He's a little guy like that, little short little guy like that, and has a big old white beard. He looks like Santa Claus, and he's in great shape. And he has 27 surgeries, had meningitis, had many health complications over his lifetime, but he decided that he was going to be well. And he started taking those steps to make himself that way. And so life's not been easy for that man, but he's in great shape and he has a great spirit, a joyful spirit about him. And you can too. And so you need to sit down and decide and write down what you want to be true in that area of your life. Next, you have to ask this question. In order for that to be a reality, for me to be able to walk more than 5 miles in one walk without getting too tired, what must be true? If that reality that I just defined, if I want that to be true, what must be true for me in order to that to come to fruition in my life? Next question you ask yourself about that goal in that specific focus area. Now, well, here's a few examples. I would need to start biking. I'm sorry. I would need to start each day by doing a stretch routine. I personally start every single day, except sometimes when I'm on vacation and traveling, with a stretch routine to help myself be more flexible and to feel a lot more agile. That's part of my routine, just because it's what I need to do for my own body to help me feel more flexible. Maybe you need to buy a bike, then learn how to ride it. I think I said learn to ride it twice. Oh, then learn to ride it longer distances. Okay, that's what I said. So maybe you need to buy a bike. That has to be a reality. It's actually a practical and kind of tactical thing that you can do. And then learn how to ride that bike if you don't know how to ride it already. And then learn how to ride it for long distances so you actually have the stamina to withstand the strain over time. And make sure that you're comfortable and you have the gear. Maybe it requires you actually going out and buying a few things. But that's very important to identify in making your goals come to life. What are the things that must be true in order for this goal to be reality in my life? Well, I need to have some gear. I need to have a bike. I need to learn how to ride a bike. I need to be able to do this for a longer period because I want to ride, 20 miles in a day. Okay, great. I had an uncle who, for many, many years, he came home from work after he worked from 8 till 5. He immediately went in the house, got on his bike, and rode 20 miles. And he came back. And after that, he would have dinner and carry on with the evening. And he did that every single day. And he was, gosh, 60 years old by the time but when he stopped doing that. Or I think he was like 65, maybe even older when he actually stopped riding for such long distances. And he's been in great shape. Um, Maybe you need to start some calisthenics or weight training with weights. Maybe you need to start some doing something in maybe doing stair steppers, or maybe doing use an elliptical machine, or maybe I don't know what it is, but it could be any of these things that cause the reality that you want to be true, that you said in the last slide in the area of health. If I could be in this condition, what would the condition be? Now, for this to be a reality, what for this condition to be reality in my life, what must be true? What will take me to that place? Getting clear. And then those turn into goals that you can do each week. Now I'm going to go. Now, here's an example. Go to the gym 4 times per week for 1.5 hours, starting on the 15th of January, 2026. I, so you, maybe a person that goes to the gym 4 times a week for 1.5 hours each time, starting on 15 January 2026. Personally, I go 3 times per week and I go 2 hours each time, and then I go walk each day in between. So goals are not good enough until they're granular enough for you to work on each and every week. If you have set goals like I want to get fit in 2026, well, you will never get fit in 2026. That's a condition you want to be in, but we have to get some much more granular with that goal in order to define exactly what the activity is. Because so many times we have this overarching ideology in our life of what would be nice to be true, but we don't know, but we haven't defined those actual steps that cause it to be a reality in our life. And that keeps us from being, and that lack of clarity, that dissonance between, oh, well, we want to really do this. Well, it's going to require us to do these things. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, okay. Well, I can do those things. And that means go to the gym 4 times a week. Well, I actually I have an hour and a half each 4 times per week. I know you do because you're on your phone looking at YouTube or Facebook for an hour and a half. I know you have that time, and you know you have that time too. And if you were honest with yourself, you could take that time and trade it for an activity that causes you to be able to get where you want to go in an area of life that matters to you and move life forwards. And I would love to see that for you, and I believe you can do it. But I think it just you just need to get more clear, and like I did and like I do, in order to be able to grow over time. Now, goals are not good enough until you can do them every single week. If you cannot work on your goals in each of the areas every single week, they are not granular enough. So keep going until you know what you need to do every week in order to get there. Now, there's a big, big temptation for those of us out there who have accomplished big goals in life. You've worked really hard over 5, 10 years, and you accomplished some of the massive things in life that you were out to accomplish. And then you stop making goals. And I want you just to be aware of this and don't succumb to that temptation, because it is a big temptation to be like, well, look at me. I've accomplished all these things. And now I don't have to accomplish goals anymore. And I don't have to pay attention anymore to that because I've accomplished these great things that I wanted to accomplish. And in reality, for me and personally in my life, my wife and I, we accomplished some massive things like buying and building a house debt free, having a home that is completely ours and all the land around us. Right now around my home, there's about 60 acres. We rent a little bit of it for some of our cattle, and then there's a big portion that we just own outright, and we completely own everything outright because we set our mind to accomplishing this together, and we work forward in accomplishing it. And so it's completely debt free. And you can do that in your situation as well, but you have to commit to a process that works. So that is, what is the condition that I want? What are the things that must be true in order for that condition to be true? And how then can we convert those into good goals that actually have those five characteristics that cause the goal to become a reality in our life? Then uh, then we can make great progress over many years. Now, I'm going to do one more. So, a lot of people are in this situation. So, I want to upgrade my car. It's dying. So, the overarching idea is I really need to upgrade my car. It's on its last leg. I know a lot of you are out there because I've seen some of your cars and they don't look so hot. So, some of you have really, really nice cars that are a little too nice. Probably, anyways, won't go there right now. I know acquaintance of mine. He bought a Bentley, and he was multi millionaire. Bought a Bentley, and he was like, you know what? I had the Bentley, and I was driving it around, and it was so useless to me to have this vehicle that I drove around, and now I have to kind of worry about getting scratched and stuff like that. That I just took it back because I just didn't want to have to deal with the burden of having such an expensive car. So now I just drive a cheap car, and it's like 100, $200 million. So I'm just telling you that um, you always have to pay attention to what you want the reality, the condition to be in your life. You know, you don't want his condition was I don't want to have a car that I have to worry about every time I go park it anywhere if somebody's going to bump it, scratch it, or what have you. Like it's $500,000 car that I've got, and I really don't want to feel I have to worry about somebody with a $5,000 car bumping into it. So that kind of stuff. All right. So the reality is maybe in your life that you need a new car because your car is dying or an upgrade at least of some kind. Now, listen, you need to ask yourself, how much is your current car worth? How much does an actual reliable new car cost? I'm not talking about the car that you want, like a Corvette C8. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about a Ferrari. I'm not talking about some kind of $500,000 vehicle. I'm talking about how much does a reliable, if you're honest with yourself with the answer, how much does a reliable vehicle cost for you in your area? Which would be Toyota Camry, Honda Civic. I don't know what size your family is. Maybe it's a Honda Odyssey and so forth. Maybe, any reliable car that will get you from A to B and that will do it safely. So, what's the difference between the car you own currently and how much you need to save? Let's go continue in this example. All right, so my current car, say it's worth $3,000. Okay, if I sold it today, it's worth 3,000 bucks. Not not anything fancy. All right. A reliable car for me costs $10,000. You can actually get reliable cars for cheaper than this. But just for the sake of example, a reliable car will cost $10,000. Okay. And you have zero in your bank account saved for a reliable car. But you do have an emergency fund. We'll talk about finances in a different section, but you do have an emergency fund saved, but you don't have any money saved other than your emergency fund for your car. So the difference between your car and the reliable car that you want to have, that you need to have to be able to continue caring about your life successfully is $7,000. Okay, now here we can start to make the goals. So I need to save 7,000, sell my car, then buy a $10,000 car. What? How is this possible? Let's talk about it for a second. Let's make some goals. I need to save $583 per month for a new car by 15 December 2026. Okay, for a reliable car, not new car. I should have changed that word to reliable car. Not new car, but reliable car. All right, so goal number one, I have to save this amount of money each month by this date in order to save $10,000 for the car. Goal number two, to get granular, remember we talked about we have to be able to work on this every single week. So I need to save $146 every week from now, from 15 January 2026 till 15 December 2026, more or less, to be able to save up the $7,000 that I need for my reliable car. Now I know how much money I have to save by the total per month, and I also know the total per week. And now, as I start to work on that, and by the way, we're in December, so if I start this month, then I'm actually getting ahead by a month. So now I need know that on the 1st of December, I need to clean and prepare my car for sale. You're like, well, how am I going to be without a car? Listen, you saved up $7,000. You sell your car. You can rent a car for a month if you have to, because now you don't have to save up any more money because you already saved the money for the car. And you can take the money that you were saving and spend that on a rental car. And then you can go out and buy your car. 7,000 plus 3,000 that you just sold your car for is $10,000. And now you can go buy your car. Now, what else do I need to do? The goal number five, if you don't know how to find a car that is not a hunk of junk, so it means you need to find somebody in your life to help you to be able to find a car that's not a lemon by the 1st of December. So you need to clean the car, save the money for the car, find somebody to help me to be able to decide about the car by this date, 2026. And now you can start to align your life as you focus on these five goals in that area of your wealth. I think we put this in the wealth category, right? In the what's wealth and finances, because a vehicle is an asset for your life, right? Hopefully, it's an asset, not a liability for you. Um, and now you have these five goals to focus on throughout the year in this area of your wealth building process and wealth in area of upgrading your car. So you need to, if you want to buy a new car, this is a way on how to make the goals that you can actually measure them week after week, month after month, in order to help you get to that place. And when you really think about it, you're like, well, $146 per week, and you live in the United States, and you have a decent income. You're like, man, if I just don't go to Starbucks and I don't order pizza and I don't go out twice, maybe I mean I could actually see myself saving $146 per week. And you might be able to find that you can do that quite easily. Or you can do a side gig where you can make $150 per week to be able to supplement your income. Maybe you do some babysitting. My brother and sister-in-law, they got a babysitter, and the babysitter's like, okay, well, we have to come over in pairs because I don't know the laws of the state or whatever, and they have to have the certificates and whatever. And they're like $40, per hour, and it's like, wow, that's pretty good. And it's straight up. I mean, there's no expenses. They show up, they work for whatever hours, they get paid, and that money is theirs. You have that opportunity too in more areas than you think. If we stay off Facebook and social media in the evenings, we can find opportunities where we can go do so. I have another buddy. He delivers pizzas, and he makes a couple $1,000s per month just delivering pizzas in the evening. So you can do it if you work hard at it. I know you can come up with the money to do these things. It's not way outside of the realm of possibilities. If you commit to thinking about and making the goal work for you, you can do it. And we're talking about you need to upgrade to a $10,000 car. You have a $3,000 car, and all you have to do is basically take a car payment and save it for the entire year. And if you do that, most Americans today, they have car payments that are $400 to $600. I've seen some in the realm of $1,200 per month. And if you would just save that over a 12-month period, you would be able to buy a really nice and reliable car. Like, just imagine if you had a $1,000 car payment and you had to save $1,000 every month. It's like a car payment, and you have $12,000 to buy a car with. A decent ish Honda Odyssey for minivan that is very reliable and that will get all if you have up to six kids, probably it will get you around town easily and efficiently. Costs around $12,000. I'm not saying brand new, but it's reliable, and you can actually move your family around safely. And so If you sit down and take the time to write these out and clarify the deadlines, the dates, and the weekly activity required to help you get there, then you will prosper. And I know this sounds very simple, and it is very simple, but so few people decide to work the process. And because of it, the process works against them. Because when you don't decide what you're going to do, how you're going to happen to life, life happens to you. And when life happens to you, it happens against you. Now, go through the process for each of the 7 areas of your life. By the way, if you have any questions right now, drop them in the comments because we're getting to the end of this, and I want to make sure that you have everything necessary in your toolbox to hit the ground running in 2026. So go through this process for this each of the 7 areas, and only you can do it for you. I cannot stress this enough. If you do not give yourself the gift of creating goals for yourself and then charging forwards and doing them, no one else can do it for you. I had to internalize this, and you've got to internalize it too if you're going to make any progress. And so I hope that you start this today. Now, give yourself the gift of clarity so that you can align with the actions, align your actions with your desires. One of my close relations is, wants a completely different reality, but him and his spouse are not on the same page. And because of that, they can't align their actions with their desires to accomplish what one or the other really wants. And that's a big challenge. But only you can do that for yourself. And only you can do it for you and your spouse if you're married. And you have to do that looking forward in 2026 if you're going to have a different reality in 2026 than you have today. Make 2 to 5 goals in each of the 7 areas. Now, these might break out into more goals, and that is perfectly fine. As long as they're your goals, as long as they're made in the goal format, where they're specific, measurable, they have a timeline, they're written down, and they're your goals, and you have them, and you can put them on the wall, and you can mark them off as you go month after month after month. For example, if you have to save $146 per week for a car to be able to buy it by the end of the year, then you can make a weekly goal where that you can check off. And then every single week you can just see that you've checked off that goal, and you can really see that you feel the momentum. And you can check in the bank account and see that you put a thermometer next to your goal list to where you can see that incremental growth month by month or week by week by week. And it's so important to be able to do that. So you have to get it granular enough to actually where you can feel what you need to do and take action. All right. So review and follow through is vital. You can't just make the goals sometime in previous year in 2025 for 22. I made the goals in 2025 for 2026, and I just made the goals, and I never, I put them, I printed them out, and I made them perfect, just like you said. And I focused for this short period of time, and I got all these goals made, and I never look at them again for the rest of the year. You can't do that. If you're going to hit them, you have to review them. And so you have to review them each and every month. The weekly goals, you make sure that you have them in front of you where you know these are the things that I have to focus on every single week in order for me to move the needle in this area of my life. So that's how you help make sure that you review and you stay on track with the goals throughout the year. Don't this becomes a way of living. It's not it's no longer some kind of abstract thing that you did once somewhere through some guy on YouTube who told you about how to make goals. It's something that you start to implement into how you live your life, and because of that, the application of the principle of goal setting, good goal setting, in all the areas of life, with the 5 principles of goal setting, with the 2 to 5 goals in each section that sometimes break out into more goals because you have to make sure that you're focusing granular enough and you can actually make activity. And you do that over time, you see powerful progress. Now, don't try to make up for all your shortcomings when you fall short. For example, you're going and you're making progress. You've got through month 1, you've got through month 2, you've got through month 3, things are going good, and all of a sudden, bam, out of nowhere, you're hit with a medical bill, or somebody breaks an arm, one of your children breaks an arm, and you got, God forbid, and they got to go to the hospital, and you got to pay a $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 bill, and you have to take it out of the emergency fund, and then you have to refill the emergency fund, and then you have to get back on track. Don't try to make up for all your shortcomings all at the same time. If you get off track, just get back on track and keep going, but don't try to do all this makeup work and like, I wasn't able to do these 3 weeks. Now I'm going to do these 3 weeks in 1 week, and I'm going to add the fourth week. No, if you do that, you will discourage yourself. Don't do that. It's better to be consistent to make up for all the lost time. Consistently get back on track to be able to charge for and to take those incremental steps rather than, well, I just feel so bad and guilty because I missed those 3 weeks and now I have to make up for it, and now I have all this stress and anxiety. That causes a lot of stress and anxiety because I have to get the goal by this exact deadline, and if I don't get the goal then I'll feel myself and all these things. Don't allow that to be a reality for you. Stop that. Work on the goal. When life knocks you down, get back up, dust yourself back up. Don't feel like you have to go back and do all the stuff that you were not able to do. I save $600 now this month instead of 584, whatever the number was. Just start where you are and keep going. Because if you try to keep playing catch up, then you will never feel like you're caught up. And then because you can never catch up, you will give up on the goal. And that's not what I want for you. I want you to be able to accomplish things over time. It's better to accomplish a goal 2 months late than never. Okay? Let that sink in. Don't give up. It's your life. And whether you think you can or whether you think you cannot, you are correct. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. My goal is to help people win and give you tools that you need. And while I do that, build our family brand. This channel is part of me working through growing and building our goals in our family and building our personal brand and our company brands as we continue to prosper over time. And so this is actually me living out some of our goals when you watch these videos and when you interact with us. So if you want to go along for the ride, go along for the journey, please like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, however you like or subscribe there. And if you know anybody in your life that needs this content, that needs help with goal setting, that's looking forward into 2026 and would like a different reality for themselves, please have them tune into our channel. I talk about this stuff every single week and give people the tools to get there. I went from a card table, poor and broke in my living room to multi-million dollar status in 10 years. And it took focus, intensity, goal setting, and all kinds of other applied principles. And those are the ones that I'm teaching to you so that you can do it too and accomplish all of those things that are in your heart. I look forward to serving you in the future. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you over on TikTok. If you're here right now, I'm just about to jump over on TikTok to do a live. You can interact with me there, ask me a bunch of questions, and I look forward to carrying on the conversation on TikTok.